Recorded live in front of a virtual studio audience and coming to you from the Full Sail University campus in sunny Winter Park, Florida. It's the Media Communications BS Hour. Also on the Halloween Eve that we're experiencing today, and also from another location to the first online, or the first on campus, pardon me, the first on campus class facilitated by Jason Gillette, our amazing course director and fearless leader who usually opens these broadcasts. Yes, it is the Media Communications BS Hour, the BS standing for Bachelor of Science, but at the end of this hour, as we always say, you might think of some other more appropriate meanings. And so joining us today on our thrilling journey through the heart of the media communications industry is our esteemed panel of course directors, and I'm going to pitch it to our first today, Lisa Smith. Lisa, are you out there?
Oh, I'm out there. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another week and an exciting new month of classes here with MCBS.
Did you pass it on to me? I'm going to wait.
Oh, yeah. Let me pass it along to Janelle Ferrer.
To me. Hi, everybody. I am a course director for project management here at MCBS, and I am excited to be here as always. I am passing it on to Robert.
Welcome, everyone. Thank you, Janelle. Welcome to our MCBS Hour today. Very excited about all the topics we're going to talk about. And with that, I will pass it on back to Pete.
Okay, yeah, I usually wedge in there after Janelle, and I'm sort of just launching things today on behalf of Jason Gillette. So, Jason, I think it's time to throw this your way. So, if you're ready to go, I'm going to throw it to Jason.
Oh, sure. I'd love that. We are coming to you live and direct from Full Sail Building 2, Room 202R. This is where they're going to erect the plaque one day for where the MCBS campus program was launched. Everybody will come from states and states around to visit this place and see what's going on. But I'm joined in the room by our 6 bravest students, the 6 that came and still are here after 3 months at Full Sail. This is their 3rd month here for most of them.
Woohoo!
And, yeah, they're trucking on through. So we're having a great time over here in Building 2, and we love hearing you guys over in Building 5.
It's good hearing you.
Yep.
So it's October 30th, and we've had a very good week in the news as far as media goes. If you guys have been under a rock, you might not have heard some of these things, but we're going to talk about those of them that I have notes on way over here. The first one is Adobe. We've been hearing about this Adobe hack since back at October 3rd. It's a pretty big deal because they had 3 million people affected by that hack, according to what they told us back on October 3rd. But we had a little bit of a revelation recently. It wasn't 3 million. It was actually 38 million accounts hacked. And I believe that we've even had one of our course directors affected. I think that was Phyllis.
Mm-hmm.
What can you tell us about this, Pete? You're a Mr. Adobe, the big Adobe man on campus.
Thanks, Jason. Yeah. Well, number one, it is true that our fellow course director, Phyllis Redmond, had to deal with this and was given some free identity theft protection or whatever they have there. Yeah, it was pretty serious. And this one was, as you say, 38 million is not a small number. And Adobe, having had their issues before with Flash and then the kind of bumping heads with Apple and the letter from Steve Jobs that had happened some time ago when Steve was still with us, that all has sort of come up to this moment of the hack now that has affected all these accounts. I'm a Adobe user of the Creative Cloud, and we were also instructed to change our passwords. So yes, this has affected everybody across the board, this breach. Probably not as serious for some as it could have been for others. So Adobe is rallying and trying to get this taken care of. And this also coming on the heels, Jason, of the release of Mavericks by Apple, in which Flash is sort of I forget the word that they use for it, but it's kind of tamed down where you don't have to be using it. You kind of give sites permission to use um, sandboxed. They call it sandbox. There it is. They've sandboxed Flash, and so just like Chrome does and Firefox, they basically are just saying, hey. We're not into all of this exposure that Flash is giving people from a security standpoint. So Adobe is they're having to really deal with this issue, and then now coming on the heels of this now with the 38 million accounts affected. So it's not a pleasurable time for things out there in San Jose at the Adobe headquarters.
Hey Pete, this is Lisa.
Yeah.
I was curious, what kind of information would those who hacked these accounts be able to obtain in this type of break-in? Because I know in some cases they'll be after credit card numbers and financial data, but what would they be after in this case?
Right. That is a great question, Lisa. I think for folks like Phyllis who have been given free ID theft protection for a year or whatever it is, obviously it must have hit. It must have breached pretty far in for those users. So not every user has been breached. So if you did get some sort of an email from Adobe giving you such an offer as identity theft protection or some kind of security that way, then pretty much that where your accounts were pretty much breached. And so to protect that, as companies like American Express and other companies like that, which will do from time to time, say, let's just do this as a move to make sure nothing happens. So they allow your accounts to be monitored on their expense so that you make sure you haven't been personally affected. So that there's some coverage that Adobe will do that way. And then for those of us whose accounts, such as mine, that really weren't hacked into, that information was not gotten to, the depth of the invasion didn't reach that point. We were just told, hey, just to be safe, change your passwords. So I think that's pretty much, if that answers your question. If you did get something from Adobe and that tells you, hey, you get some free security protection, use it because it's on Adobe's dime, and then you can make sure no one's playing around with your ID or credit card or debit card information. And the rest of us out there, it'd probably be a good move to change your password on your Adobe accounts.
That certainly affected a lot of people. I might be almost a little surprised that they have 38 million users.
There you go. I mean, it's that wide, and shows you, Jason, the seriousness of this as it happens. These kinds of cyber attacks and hacks they present a very, very big threat to companies who, let's face it, people want to feel that their information is secured. And especially when we start thinking, well, gosh, if it happened to Adobe, why doesn't it happen to so-and-so? And I think that's the concern of the day. And so I think we also see that these types of positions, these types of businesses that provide security, that's a very, very important contract to have with a company the size of Adobe, especially. So there you have it.
All right. Well, that takes us to our next story. And before I jump into it, I will apologize for the echo that everybody's enduring. We're working out how to come to you live and direct from 7 different continents at once, and we seem to be getting some echo. But despite that, we're going to push on through, and hopefully you can hear. Our second news story involves the White House. So you think we'd be talking about healthcare.gov, because that's all you hear about. Their website that is receiving help on a daily basis, and they're probably investing more in public relations than they are in web design right now because they're trying to get everybody to come back. But that's not what we're talking about, thankfully. Instead, we're talking about senior White House official Jofi Joseph, who's probably just bitter because his name is Jofi Joseph. Has been just Mr. Snark on his Twitter account. His Twitter account @NatSecWonk. You can follow him if you want, but I don't know if he's tweeting much anymore. He lost his job already. He works for Obama at the White House and spent all of his spare time bad-mouthing Obama and everything that that administration did. It doesn't matter what your political leanings are. This is just talking about this guy and what he did in the organization that he's working for. I would think if you're working for an organization that's cutting you a big check on a regular basis, that you wouldn't spend your time bad-mouthing him. But maybe that's just me. What do you think? Hashtag be social media savvy with Janelle.
I want to go on the other side of that, which will segue into my actual segment today, but just the power of Twitter. I know that I've talked about Twitter the past few weeks. Well, I've tried not to, but it's just because it's really such a dense social media platform where celebrities get on, or in this case, you know, someone that works for the NSA, and they start posting things that many times don't even have a filter, and they take it back and regret it later. But I don't think he has any regrets, to be honest. He posted what he wanted to post, and I don't think he's ever come out and really tried to defy anything that he already posted and said about certain people. Now, I want you to chime in on your whole little conspiracy theory, because I thought it was really interesting as I'm reading two side-by-side articles about this, where he says he deeply regretted violating the trust and confidence placed in him. But why did it take so long for the NSA to really pick up on this? Or, I mean, he had been doing this, it said, for 2 years. So really, I don't know if what was the last one that it was about? I forgot who it was. It was some lady that he said something, and I wonder if she had enough pull to get him out of there.
Well, there are some good examples. I don't have them written down with me, but if you guys have access to a browser, go Google Joseph tweets, and the list is pretty bad. He had some harsh things to say about Sarah Palin, and he's not alone. Everybody did, really, but he said some stuff that was, well, offensive. It was rude, not the kind of stuff that you say if you're having a debate. It's the kind of stuff you say if you're being mean on the playground in a lot of ways.
Snarky.
And it's not. Yeah, exactly. There's just no reason to go there. But on the other hand, and this is something that was pointed out quite a bit, there were a lot of people following this account. And some of the people following this account, many of them, in fact, were the powerful people that he was bad-mouthing. So it was pretty impressive. My little conspiracy theory, if you want to call it that, which I wouldn't. Conspiracy is what's really happening, man. In reality, what I think went on there, and what amazed me, is that how in the world could it have taken them long to locate this guy? There's somebody that has a Twitter account. They're tweeting from a phone. It couldn't have taken, if the NSA was involved, it couldn't have taken them 5 minutes to find out who was making these tweets. I think the problem is that if the White House knew 5 minutes afterwards, they couldn't go accuse that person or out them or say, we caught you, because then they would have to indicate how they caught him. And they don't want to say that we're using our massive spying web of equipment and data storage to be able to spy on our citizens and locate who's saying what in what hidden social media site, because they don't want to say that. But that doesn't mean that's not what's happening. So I don't have any claims. I just am throwing that out there. It seems kind of fishy, like it shouldn't have taken the 2 months. It shouldn't have taken the 2 months. It shouldn't have taken a week.
You know what? As I'm reading, I just posted a link, and if you guys look at some of the things that he actually tweeted, I can't believe some of the phrasing and words that he used, you know, when he's trying to represent, apparently, clearly you can tell that he works for national security just by his, you know, Twitter handle. But, you know, well, he says in his Twitter handle, it said, well, once upon, before they closed it down, unapologetically says what everyone else only thinks, a keen observer of the foreign policy and national security scene. I'm abrasive and bring the snark, and he sure does. I mean, if you just scroll down some of the stuff that he says, you know, it's pretty interesting, not very professional, even though he had a lot of, you know, high intel and a lot of, you know, really high-ranking officials following him and his tweets.
It's almost like a curtain that we all have up. We think that the people that are representing us or that work in the big white building they just act a certain way. It's interesting when they take the curtain away and we see how human they are and the kind of even childish opinions that they might share in a childish way. That's interesting.
Jason, I apologize. I accidentally hit the next slide, so that's my.
Accident nothing. I can take a hint, Pete.
No,
Fine. All right, we're all
that was
set.
not.
Moving
I
on to
just,
media
I
news.
just meant to say we were so listening. I just accidentally breathed, and it just blew the button. I just had no idea that was going to happen. I'll make sure I don't breathe as strongly on this end.
Jason, can you
Yes.
see the chats?
Yes. Just
Okay.
now.
Did you want to mention what John Hurst just said? Because I thought that was an interesting perspective.
Yeah.
Yes. And those of you that don't have access to the chat, because if you're watching the archive, you don't. John made a good point. Actually, John, would you be able to? Do you mind sharing that verbally? You're muted, so click the mute, and I'll mute myself so go through.
What I was saying is, it's not actually a national security issue. His opinion is not going to affect like the safety of the American people. So I mean, that could be why they didn't act on it. It's just the fact, it's his opinion. It does sort of look bad at the administration, but nobody's lives are at risk for these little tweets that he's posting.
I think that is an excellent point, but it also goes back to you're working for a company, and it's it's your responsibility to almost make that company look good, so to speak. And what he did was he badmouthed everybody around him, and in essence, the company he works for, whether it be national security. So I absolutely agree. It didn't have any, it didn't endanger the public, but he was basically, I guess, not leaking information, because it's stuff that probably people already think anyways. But if you worked for a company and you started badmouthing your boss, I gave that example last week, something not to do on Facebook, especially if your boss is your friend on Facebook, don't say, I hate my boss. Those are the kind of things that I think it got to that point where they're just kind of like, you're out,
And Janelle, go ahead.
I just wanted to add that to what Janelle said. This is Robert.
I was just talking about
Hi,
the
everyone.
NSA thing.
Oh, okay. Just to add to juxtapose what Janelle was saying, if we are in a position as a country that we actually tap all of our communications with even our allies. Question to everybody in here would be, don't you think that the government had tabs on this guy for 2 years now already? So if John's thinking, there was no immediate threat to national security, but somebody saw an imminent threat coming up, and that's why they exposed it, what about that position?
It's a good point. I was going to touch, and then I'll move over to your direction there too, Robert.
Yes.
Was that Janelle is saying, the lines between professional and personal get blurred, and sometimes
Right.
you're putting your opinions out there, and it's a problem that not just the government has. It's happening in other companies. There's intellectual property. There's leaks of Apple products into the rumor mills, and there's all kinds of stuff that gets tweeted and photos taken and put up on Flickr or somewhere. And this is a growing problem where people don't understand their responsibility as an employee, and so it gets written into the policies of that company. We have policies at Full Sail about conduct and the way that you're supposed to conduct yourself in
Right.
discussions and chats and all these kinds of things. And so this clearly went across the line. But to go back to what you're saying, Robert, of course they had to be seeing what this guy was doing. So I agree.
I mean, it will be crazy of us to think that we are able to tap on our allies that are across oceans and don't have any kind of control or oversee of our in our own little office in our backyard. So yeah, I think they gave him enough rope, and eventually they saw a threat and they had to pull the rope. So that's in my opinion.
And they said they looked at the content, and it wasn't just along a party line. I mean, he went after
No.
everybody.
It was across
So,
the board, yeah.
Yeah.
So
Glad I wasn't his coworker. Okay, moving on.
Hey, maybe we could stage a really insidious Twitter battle between ourselves and get a lot of attention that way.
Sure.
True.
It usually starts with a Disney thing in the theater where you can give live feedback in the theater. I think that's how the last one started. So
That's how the fights begin. We've got a pretty wicked 5-second delay in building 2, and John had something he was going to add, and I wanted to give him a chance before we moved on to the Instagram news. So I'm going to turn it over to him, and just hold out for the 4-second delay. Just hold out for the 4-second delay.
Oh, I mean, I was just going to bring up the fact that I was talking about specifically why NSA didn't act on it, as opposed to, since it wasn't a national security problem and they had no reason to act right away. I'm sure there's much pressing issues they have to face on a daily basis.
That's a good point.
Great. Yeah.
And it's a good point because the Angela whatever, I can't remember her name is, or not Angela, but the prime minister of Germany. Yeah, I mean that whole thing, Merkel, that was coming out last week, and so there were probably, and so which means it probably hit even before then that rumors were going on about it. So yeah, it's a good point that you make.
Well, let's leave that light piece behind and move into some real hard-hitting news. Let's take a look at this new partnership that's formed. Audio giant SoundCloud. If you're not familiar, oh my goodness, go check them out. They're the YouTube of audio, SoundCloud.com. SoundCloud is teamed up with image giant Instagram, and SoundCloud and Instagram have a project together where users of both platforms are able to take their SoundCloud albums that they've created or put together and create album covers out of images that they have in Instagram. So whether it's a collage or a collection of Instagram images, or in whatever way you do it, you're able to create this cover art by bringing these two giant platforms together. And we thought that was really interesting. And since we've got Robert now, we were going to ask him if he would chime in on what that could mean for us and what that might look like.
Thanks, Jason. Hello, everyone, again. I think they have a great situation going for them for a few reasons. Number one, yes, SoundCloud is the YouTube for audio. They claim to be the largest audio delivery service, not platform, but delivery service, as is YouTube. So at some point, it is going to be a mecca of the downloads, streaming for the audio side, as YouTube is for the video side. YouTube had in the past, or has been able to host audio, but SoundCloud does so much of a better job than they do, and thus why it became very popular. I think the free account for SoundCloud, you can host up to like 2 hours of music, and you can interchange that. Combining images that you can actually add to your playlist covers or your CD covers for artists who are trying to promote their particular product is a brilliant idea. I think where it really gets good is, I think this is just the start of it. I think it's the other way around that may actually benefit Instagram even better, with adding possibly audio to maybe a profile picture while somebody reads your profile, and they go in a little bit of depth about that, or possibly with the new videos you can do for Instagram, the short videos, you can add audio clips to these videos. So those, I think, are where we're starting to see this partnership develop and going. So it's not only from SoundCloud to Instagram with the album covers, but the other way around is going to be even bigger for Instagram. So it's if you haven't checked out SoundCloud yet, it's pretty awesome. In my course, Digital Audio Applications, we are going to have our SoundCloud account set up so we can share files and also do some cool interchanging using this platform for background music, sound effects, all sorts of stuff. So check it out. I think it's a brilliant partnership. Brilliant partnership.
it's always exciting watching how these things come together. I think they need to grow to a certain size before they realize how well they fit together, and then they almost automatically fall into one another. And the way you describe it, I can certainly see why that's a good fit and how this could grow even further.
Totally.
Excellent. Well, that does complete the media in the news segment. There was a lot of media in the news that we didn't cover, and that's so that we could hurry up and get to this cute little baby. Hashtag Be Social Media Savvy with Janelle is going to tell us all about the emotional baby Too Cute.
You're muted, Janelle.
You're muted. Maybe not.
Sorry. Yes, I am. Hey guys. Okay, so has anybody seen this video?
Yes.
Yes.
Lisa, Robert,
Mhm.
Juliana, you've seen it a gazillion times. Awesome. Okay, well, you guys, basically anywhere that you go now, you'll be able to see it. It really has taken off. I actually found it yesterday and sent it to Robert so he could see just the emotional connection of what music can do, but that's not really why it's on the social media savvy segment. The reason it is because it has over, well, here it says 4.9 million hits, but it really has over 5 million because different YouTube members have actually posted this video in their own little rendition with their own little edits and stuff, and many of those already have over 90,000. And so the reason I wanted to discuss this was just the power of viral videos, and just how can you guys utilize this? How do you think you can utilize YouTube in, projects or in, companies that you work for now, or in your future company or future companies that you work for? Think about how you can actually apply, YouTube and going viral, something as simple as a baby crying. And I'm going to tell you the backstory of this. If you guys watch this, which I highly recommend you do, it's adorable. The mom sings this one specific song, and yeah, exactly. The video already has advertising, Kathy said, and it sure does. And it has advertising for Febreze. I'll point that out because I clipped that out of it. But this dad is the one who posted it. He's making money off of this. You guys can make money with a great video, and obviously this wasn't planned, but something that the mom did was she sings to this child all the time. She's got a beautiful voice too. And the child never responds except for this one particular song that she sings. That little Pete, you're messing me up.
I don't know how this is happening, but I will find it. Go ahead, keep going.
There you go. Okay, so
There we
the
go.
little baby, and just click go on the top left. So this little baby, whenever she hears her mom singing this one particular song, she gets emotional, and honestly, it looks like you're watching an adult go to the opera or a ballet, and they're just crying and all emotional because they connect to the song. And it's funny because people connected with this and they thought it was adorable. And Juliana said that she watched it a gazillion times. It's just such a cute video. But what do you guys think of the power of something like YouTube that hasn't even been around, longer than a decade, I think, or maybe a decade and a half, something ridiculously short? But what do you guys use YouTube for? I want you guys to chime in, especially you class people.
Well, they're thinking about ways that they use YouTube. Could you tell me how that dad's making money off Febreze? How's that monetized? Could you tell?
Oh yeah, on YouTube.
Was it the standard YouTube?
Yes, it is. It's the standard YouTube one. If you look on the top right of it, it's got, yeah, and it's got the featured videos, and then it's got the Febreze ad right on top. Kathy said that she's seen Toys R Us on it, so it just depends. Martin said he uses YouTube pretty much for everything. If I need to look something up that I liked, a kid show like in the late 80s or early 90s, I literally go into it. I mean, it's just become for everything that Juliana says that she uses YouTube mainly for learning and entertainment purposes. But I want you guys to think outside of the box that this can really be such a humongous tool and asset for launching. You can go to the next slide, Pete. Look at everything available with social media. This is just, this continually grows and grows every year with more and more different tools. But look at all the different avenues that YouTube connects, that you can utilize it for. Clayson says that he uses it for class assignments and projects, from high school, whatever he needs. They're amazing for tutorials, music videos, let me see, YouTube for a lot of tutorials, music videos, and groups. But it's just a great way to really pull together things that you've been looking for. I'm telling you, it has a database like I've never seen before because it allows you as a user to go and upload whatever you want. So my little social media tip today is it to see what we can find, as opposed to how we can use this to benefit us monetarily or for our company, or really try to blow something, virally, where it's just going to be amazing, and think creatively and out of the box. So that's my little tidbit for the segment. If anybody has any comments, let me know. Yeah. Oh, you're on mute, I think, Lisa. Oh, no, you're not. Nope. You're not coming up. Oh, Lisa has stuff to say, she said, but we can't hear her right now.
Lisa,
So
if you
we'll
want to
go
run
on.
over to my mic here, you're welcome to.
Nope. No. Okay, we're having a little bit of technical issues. Gotta love technology.
But we love what you're thinking, Lisa. We can all
Yeah, great
gather it.
thoughts.
Yeah.
We can't hear you. You want to use my mic? Here. No, can't hear you. We can move to the next segment and then come back to that one.
Okay. Jason, are you there?
I am. If you can hear me, I think our class just went down, though. The internet went down here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We're still functioning here, so.
But I'm plugged in, so I'm going to go ahead and move forward with this. We're taking a look again at the I can't believe this is someone's job. Probably the icon we're going to have at the beginning of this show forever. It's that bird flu virus again, which kicks us off into one of my favorite topics, and that's viral anything, as long as it doesn't make me sick. We've got a viral marketing. Whoa. Yeah. Okay. No, I'll go back to that. We've got a viral marketing. Hot off the presses, happening right now, exciting thing for everybody to watch. The thing that's going on is there's this odd symbol that's been showing up around the world and connected specifically to soccer games. Everybody else in the world calls it football. We call it soccer because we don't want to confuse everybody that plays football here. So I'm talking about soccer globally. And it started in Rio de Janeiro. They had this symbol that you see up on the mountain that was flashed up there. And if you go to the next slide, you can see some other places, London and Times Square, where they had this symbol show up again. I love this 3D sculpture thing that showed up. It's this giant, well, you can see it. It's that giant sphere that looks like it fell to the earth, and it's surrounded by a bunch of other smaller spheres with that same symbol on it. Very, very cool. And there's no information about what it is. So this stuff showed up in the middle of nowhere. Obviously, people took pictures, posted it on Facebook, put it everywhere, and it created buzz. It created talk. People were talking about it because they didn't know what it was. So then, as you can see on the screen now, these creepy guys started showing up at some of the soccer games. And these creepy guys would sit quietly, not talking to anybody, staring straight forward for 10, 20, 30 minutes at a time, and then in unison would all stand up and carry out this hand gesture thing that took like a minute or two that was all in unison, and then they would sit back down. So there's this crazy, crazy live human, or whatever you call these guys, component, along with all these flashing lights and spheres falling out of the sky. And recently, in the last couple days at one of the games, these creepy guys also held up a big scarf with the words #WinnerTakesEarth. So now, people have even more to talk about. They have a way to go to Twitter and search #WinnerTakesEarth, which I suggest you do right now. And you're able to go and see, at least in some part, what this is about. And this is about getting people to talk about it even though they don't know what it is. They're curious, they're excited. In some cases, I saw some people that were actually concerned. One of the Ask Yahoo questions was, is this the Illuminati? Are they finally, I don't even know what the guy was asking, and he got responded to by like 14 people telling him he was crazy, because obviously everybody knows this isn't real. It's an advertising campaign, but that does not stop us from being excited. Is it Samsung? Are they doing something? Is it Nike? Are they finally breaking out? Or is it, a lot of people think it's FIFA, FIFA World Cup, and they're trying to create buzz around their sport. So whatever it is, they're really investing a lot of effort into making people excited about this. And all I can think about when I think about that is that somebody somewhere is sitting in front of a laptop and a pad of paper and holding a pen, and this is their job. They're saying, hey, I know, let's get a big sphere and paint some crazy symbol on it and throw it in the ground, and then we'll get these lights and we'll shine them on the mountain. That'll be awesome. Ooh, and then we'll all dress up in hoods and paint our faces white. And that's their job. They're like planning this stuff. I can't believe that. I'm not saying I want to leave this job, but I certainly wouldn't mind having that one also. What do you guys think of that? I've been running my mouth about this because I'm so excited by it. What do you think?
Jason, I'm a huge, this is Robert, by the way, I'm a huge fan of soccer, or football as the rest of the world calls it. This is a brilliant, I think, campaign that's been started by either, like you said, Samsung, Adidas. I'm willing to say more of a technology company. FIFA is, in the rest of the world, there's no need for them to, a World Cup, which is next year, 2014, it's already been talked to for the last 4 years, so they don't need to do much of that. But I think one of the sponsors or somebody that's providing some technology or some sort of sponsorship to these games is actually is promoting some sort of a product. So I think we should all, you know, stay pending for one of these technology companies, or a product from Adidas or Nike. I don't think it's Nike though, because they're not that big as far as soccer apparel, as far as outside of U.S. But Adidas might be one of those, I think. But it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to this 2014 World Cup series. So see what these guys are doing.
This is Pete, by the way, this could have come from a number of sources. What if a group of people, too, wanted to throw something out there and then a company links on to what they're doing? The strategy, in any way that you look at it, is brilliant. And so this is exactly what we talk about from time to time in all of our classes about, media strategists, transmedia initiatives. Here it goes again. As I'm looking at this, we're asking a bunch of questions, right? We're like, who is it? What could they be up to? Is it a tech company? Is it this? It can't be FIFA, as Robert was just saying. And well, the hook is in our jaws now. I mean, people are interested. They're asking questions. It's almost like what they used to do at the end of a program to get you to watch. What's that? Input audio. Yeah.
No.
Well, I could mention while we're waiting that I was reading a lot of the comments while people were asking about this and talking about this, and a lot of people were having this reaction of, duh, it's an advertising campaign, and it was the minority of people that didn't know that it was something like that, which means our society, our world of media consumers has matured. Something like this that had come out 20 years ago would have freaked everybody out.
It's true.
But because it's not, because we've seen stuff like this, it's a lot like when movies first came out. The first people that sat in a movie theater and watched a movie, it was a movie of a train coming at them. And when the train got close, they dove out of their seats onto the ground, even though they knew they weren't being run over by a train. It just seemed so lifelike and real to them, they didn't know how to react. But after they realized what it was, they realized it was just a visual trick. They sat in their chairs and learned to enjoy it. And that's what we do when we go see movies now. We enjoy it, even though long ago there was a generation of people diving out of their seats for safety. Here's an example of that where we've matured to the point where we know this is a joke, but just like enjoying, or not a joke, it's a ploy, but we've matured to the point where we get to enjoy it. We get to sit back and watch it like we watch movies now. We get to talk and think about all the people that you talk about this with. The bus driver this morning, you mentioned it to them. You talked about it at the water cooler. Is revealed who's responsible
Edit.
Yeah, that's
At
what
least we have an
editing's
edit
for.
button, so that's good. Thank you guys for your patience. We're experiencing a little bit of turbulence at this time. Please keep all hands and arms.
And your seats in the upright position.
Please.
Please attach the mask to yourself first and then assist others.
Okay, staff VLAN is back, guys, so we should be okay.
For those of you that don't have access to the chat, Miguel just said they're watching us. Hashtag winner take full sale.
He's going to start tool time in just a minute.
Oh, you guys are in for a treat. Today's tool time.
Lisa hates being censored. I have to speak for her because her
Built
mic
in,
is so
but that's here.
There you go.
Yeah, but that's not picking this, right?
I hear you now.
You're good, Pete.
Okay, you hear me now?
That's in. That's
Okay. Well, I'll use this one and do tool time. Hi, everybody. It's tool time.
Tool time!
Tool time.
From the besieged Tool Time Institute. Oh my goodness, this is fun. Okay, so anyway, let's talk about tool time. Let me Janelle, should I hit play here so we can get a full screen? There we go. She taught me how to get rid of that thing before up there, the go button. So we are in tool time, and let's talk about this week. We usually have a theme each week. So this week is take stock and take time. And we're going to be talking about stock exchange, which has a very, very simple URL, which is sxc.hu. And if you go there, it's going to take you to the stock exchange. We'll tell you about that in a second. And of course, Wigio, something that many of you may already be familiar with. So let's kick it off and look at Stock Exchange. Stock Exchange is a very cool site because it gives you access to a lot of images that are high resolution, that you can go ahead and use. A lot of the owners of these images just want you to send them a quick email and say, hey, I'm using your image for this. They give you the criteria most of the time, how you can use it. They're pretty much royalty free. And we'll show you some examples as we move ahead here. That's an example of that image that I just showed you, the pier. They're very high resolution, very nice images that you can draw from to show you the how good the resolution is on some of these. This is a summer strawberry picture. I know we're in the fall, but just think summer strawberries for a second. Go back to the summertime. It's the luscious strawberries that were out. Now, you can zoom in to this level of granularity there. The resolution is that good. That's the image I just showed you on Stock Exchange. So a really, really cool resource for high quality images. And let's take a look at this. This one was 3,000 by 3,000 pixels and 300 DPI, which is a high resolution. We usually look at images on the web at 72 DPI. This is a pretty big file size. You can download it, and you may use the image in most of these, or you may use the in a digital format. Use the image in a digital format, excuse me, on websites, multimedia presentations, so on, cell phones, everything, right? In printed promotional materials, along with your corporate identity on a business card. So this is a pretty cool license they give you for this. And as I say, sometimes the owners just say, hey, just email me, let me know how you're using it or whatever. But very, very cool royalty. Yes, the images, Donovan, are royalty free. And I want to show you how we use the images in a class that I used to teach some years ago. It was a high school graphic design class. These were the images as they came off of Stock Exchange. And we use this a lot in that class. And this is what the students did with those images. So Yeah, you could do some really, really cool work. All these were done in Photoshop, and it's just a great resource. And so I throw this out to you, students in MCBS, to say, hey, if you're using content, there's plenty of engaging content out there that's high quality that makes your projects look very, very professional. So there you have it. That's Stock Exchange. They're up to version 6, as you can see. And it's a very simple URL, sxc.hu. Now, some of you are going to go there and go, hey, wait a minute. There's some paid images here, too. Yes, there are. There's some stock photos that are you paid for them. They're really nice, but a lot of people miss these freebies, and there's tons of these freebies in Stock Exchange. So be sure to check out sxc.hu. If it's free, it's me, right? So there you have it. Okay, Stock Exchange, take stock. All right, let's talk about Wigio. Wigio is really what I call project management and collaboration in the free world, right? This is a free Web 2.0 tool that allows you to go ahead and collaborate and get together with your classmates on projects, sort of like Basecamp, right? But a free version that's there for you to use. I threw this slide up there to show you that when you do go to Wigio's site, there's a What is Wigio video waiting for you. You can take the tour, take a test drive. There's testimonials from people such as Jennifer G, who says, Wigio has rocked my sorority's world these past 6 months. Thanks, guys, and keep up the good work. We've got Mark H saying, I started using Wigio at a colleague's suggestion. Now I use it all the time. What a great resource, and it's free. So there you go. Yeah. There are tablet apps for this as well for you to connect in to those who you're collaborating with via your iPhone or your Android or devices. Wigio is the easiest, and notice it's up there, free way to work in groups. So you can host virtual meetings, manage events with a calendar, create to-do lists, poll your group in real time. That's cool. Send email, text, and voice messages, upload and manage files in a shared folder. And I love how in the bottom they show you it's great for clubs and committees, academic groups. Right? We're academic groups here. Small businesses, political movements, so on and so forth. Lots of great things to use Wigio. I know Robert is familiar with Wigio. Many of us are from our former lives too in EMDT. Some of the course directors there use this. I'll show you a picture of that, as a matter of fact, in a second. This is what the interface looks like. Your name would be, and your profile could be accessed up in the upper left. And it's a pretty straightforward, easy to use interface. On the right are all of your, you can upload files from a computer, conference calling, virtual meeting, chat rooms, create documents, spreadsheets, polls, and surveys. Lots of cool things. You can see how much you can really do in Wigio. And then, of course, up top on the tabs, there's the feed, there's your folders, and your calendar. So easily accessible in Wigio. Here's a picture of how I used it when I was here taking the EMDT online program at Full Sail. One of my course directors, Beth Strudgeon, used it, and this was us collaborating using Wigio. So it works great, and guess what? It is free. So a great way to stay collaborating and posting your ideas and keeping your projects moving. So Stock Exchange, take stock, and with Wigio, take time. Use your time wisely and collaborate. And there's your free tools from Tool Time. Take it from Pete. This stuff works good. There you go.
I love that picture.
That's awesome.
And so we bid you a farewell from the Institute, the Tool Time Institute. Back to you, Jason.
So hold on, Pete. You're telling me that if I'm just throwing out a hypothetical here, if there were a group of online students and a group of live students that were collaborating on a project, they could use Wigio to help enhance that collaboration?
Definitely.
Ding, ding, ding.
There you
Oh
go.
my gosh.
Light bulb on, blinking.
You are
Yeah.
changing my world. Well, that was it from the Tool Time Institute, and that's also it from the MCBS Media Communications BS Hour desk. we're going to call it a wrap. We loved having you guys with us today. We're especially excited to have our live students in the audience with us today, as well as our august panel of CDs back in Building 5. More than anything, we hope you have an exciting and fun Halloween tomorrow, and we see you safely next Wednesday at 2 p.m. Have a spectacular week, everybody. Janelle?
Thank you.
No, boom.
We're waiting
done.
for boom.
Oh, boom! We're done.
All right.
I was like, thank you guys.
And that will do it
And
for Archive.
All right.